On a freezing winter night, Navy SEAL Ethan Cole walked through a dim alley, desperate to get home after a long deployment. His K9 partner, Shadow, a disciplined, unshakable German Shepherd, suddenly stopped dead in his tracks. His ears shot up. Ethan tugged the leash, but Shadow refused to move. Then Ethan saw her, a homeless woman curled against a graffiti-covered wall, clutching a worn-out case to her chest. Ethan assumed she just wanted money. But Shadow stepped forward, whining, refusing to leave her side. The woman's terrified eyes met Ethan's, and in that moment he realized something was horribly wrong. What Shadow sensed inside that case would change all their lives forever. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The winter wind cut through the narrow alley like a blade, scattering snow across the dim pavement. Navy SEAL Ethan Cole pulled his jacket tighter, exhaustion weighing on every step. He had been home for less than 24 hours, yet the city already felt colder than any deployment. His loyal K9 partner, Shadow, padded beside him, breath forming soft clouds in the frigid air. Ethan wanted nothing more than to reach his apartment, shower, and forget the world for one night. But Shadow's posture was different tonight, ears twitching, nose lifted, eyes scanning every corner. Something in the darkness unsettled him, and Ethan felt a familiar tension rise in his chest. Shadow suddenly stopped, his paws digging into the icy ground as if he'd hit an invisible wall. Ethan took 2 more steps before realizing the leash had gone tight. "Shadow, come on," he muttered, tugging lightly. But the dog didn't budge. Instead, his ears shot forward, tail lowered, body leaning toward the darkness ahead. A low, uneasy rumble vibrated in his chest, one Ethan had learned long ago never to ignore. Shadow wasn't just alert. He was locked onto something. His nose twitched rapidly, capturing a scent Ethan couldn't sense. The alley was silent except for distant traffic, yet Shadow behaved as if someone were right there, hidden in the shadows. Someone who needed help. Ethan followed Shadow's line of focus and finally saw her huddled against a graffiti-covered brick wall, wrapped in layers of torn clothing that barely held together. Snowflakes clung to her tangled hair as she shivered violently, clutching a battered black case to her chest as if it were the only thing keeping her alive. Her knees were drawn close, eyes unfocused and glazed with exhaustion. Ethan sighed. Another person down on their luck. He thought someone searching for warmth, maybe spare change. He wasn't in the mood to get involved. "Come on, Shadow," he whispered, trying to steer his partner away. But Shadow didn't move. Instead, he took a cautious step toward her, ears tilted with concern. Shadow ignored Ethan's command and moved closer to the woman, his steps slow and deliberate, as if he didn't want to frighten her. He lowered his head, sniffing the air around her before letting out a soft whine. Ethan frowned. Shadow was disciplined, obedient, and trained to listen the first time, never stubborn without reason. "Shadow, heel," Ethan repeated, firmer this time. But the German Shepherd simply planted himself beside the woman, tail low, gaze fixed on her trembling hands. Ethan's annoyance faded into confusion. Shadow wasn't reacting to pity, he sensed something. Something Ethan didn't yet understand. and that realization tightened the cold air around him. The woman flinched the moment Shadow settled beside her, pulling the battered case tighter against her chest, as if afraid someone might rip it away. Her eyes darted between Ethan and the dog, wide with a fear that went far beyond the cold. "Please, don't come closer," she whispered, her voice fragile and hoarse. Ethan froze. She wasn't aggressive or angry, she was terrified. Her shoulders trembled beneath the thin layers of fabric, and every breath she took sounded shallow, uneven. Shadow didn't growl or tense. Instead, he sat beside her calmly, gaze gentle, as if assuring her she wasn't in danger. Ethan felt confusion twist into concern. Ethan crouched slowly, finally seeing what Shadow had sensed long before he did. The woman's sleeves were torn, exposing bruises shaped like fingerprints along her arms. Her lip was swollen, a thin cut tracing down her cheek. These weren't the marks of someone simply struggling on the streets. Someone had hurt her recently, badly. Her eyes flicked nervously toward the mouth of the alley, as if expecting someone to appear at any second. Shadow noticed it too. His ears lifted sharply, body shifting between her and the darkness. Ethan's training kicked in. This wasn't random. She wasn't just cold or hungry. She was hiding from someone dangerous. And whatever she carried in that case, she was protecting with her life. Ethan's gaze dropped to the battered black case pressed tightly against her ribs. It was old, dented, and secured with a rusted clasp. Nothing about it looked valuable. Yet the way she clung to it told another story altogether. Shadow moved closer, sniffing along the edges with growing intensity, his tail stiff, muscles alert. "What's in the case?" Ethan asked gently. The woman shook her head, panic flaring in her eyes. "Please, don't take it," she pleaded, pulling it closer until her knuckles turned white. Her breathing quickened, fear trembling through every word. Shadow let out a soft but urgent growl, not at her, but at whatever scent leaked from inside. Ethan felt the air shift. Something inside that case wasn't normal. Ethan kept his voice low, steady. "I'm not here to take anything from you, but I can't help if I don't understand what's going on." The woman swallowed hard, her eyes filling with a mixture of fear and exhaustion. For a moment, she hesitated, then the truth spilled out in a trembling whisper. "They're looking for me," she said. "They think I took something. Something that proves what they did." Her fingers tightened around the case. "If they find me, they won't let me live." Ethan felt the weight of her words settle in his chest. Shadow sensed it too. He edged closer, positioning himself protectively at her side. This wasn't desperation. This was survival. Ethan slowly extended his hand. "Let me see what you're protecting. I promise I won't hurt you." For several long seconds, she stared at him, torn between trust and terror. Finally, with trembling fingers, she loosened her grip and handed him the battered case. Shadow leaned in, watching every movement closely. Ethan opened the rusted clasp, lifting the lid with caution. Inside lay a stack of documents, photographs, and a small flash drive, each item marked with timestamps, signatures, and faces he instantly recognized as dangerous men. His stomach tightened. This wasn't random theft. This was evidence powerful, damning evidence, and someone would kill to get it back. A sudden rumble echoed through the alley, the deep growl of an engine rolling slowly toward them. Ethan snapped his head up. Headlights cut through the falling snow, creeping closer with predatory intent. The woman's breath hitched. "It's them," she whispered, gripping Ethan's sleeve with desperate strength. Shadow rose instantly, body stiff, ears pinned forward as he positioned himself between the approaching vehicle and the trembling woman. The car stopped only a few yards away, doors opening with soft clicks that felt louder than gunshots. 3 men stepped out, their silhouettes sharp against the light. One of them smirked when he saw the woman. "Told you she wouldn't get far," he muttered. Ethan's training surged to the surface. Shadow growled, "Low and lethal. This confrontation was no longer avoidable." The men advanced with confidence, assuming the woman was helpless and Ethan merely an obstacle. They didn't know who they were dealing with. Ethan stepped forward, voice steady. "Leave now, and you walk away breathing." The leader laughed. "You have no idea what's in that case." He reached inside his coat. In an instant, Shadow lunged. The German Shepherd launched with explosive force, knocking the man off balance before he could draw his weapon. Chaos erupted. Ethan moved with precision, grabbing the second attacker's arm and twisting it behind his back, sending him crashing to the ground. The third man swung wildly, but Shadow pivoted, teeth bared, driving him back. The attackers, wounded and shocked, stumbled toward their car and sped away, defeated by a SEAL and his loyal K9. Minutes later, police cars arrived, their flashing lights painting the alley in red and blue. Officers collected the evidence from the battered case, their expressions shifting from confusion to shock as they understood its importance. The woman watched silently, tears streaking down her cheeks, not from fear, but relief. Ethan placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "You're safe now," he assured her. Shadow pressed gently against her leg, refusing to leave her side. An officer approached. "Because of you, an entire operation will be exposed," he said. "She be protected." As paramedics guided her toward warmth and safety, Shadow followed until Ethan softly called him back. The woman managed a small, grateful smile. For the first time in months, hope returned.